Definitely a lot taking place on the world stage as of late. Of course, everybody's fully aware of the incident in India with the plane. And let's take a look here before we get into details about this individual. They say the lone survivor. This is the plane with Air India. And the first thing I thought of when I see the name Air India is the initials AI. Okay, let's get to this individual's name. And his name is Ramesh Viswash Kumar. And I'll break that down a little bit more. But first off, let's take a look at the footage. And you see the airplane right after takeoff. And just take a look, and you'll see the huge plume and that all the burning fire and flames and all the smoke and the massive amount of black smoke as you see here. Now, an interesting aspect again about this takeoff, relatively very short. Then we see what happens here, obviously. Burst into flames and all that smoke. But the flames and smoke is really unbelievable. But let's take a look at this detail when it comes to the Hindustan Times. And just take a little bit of a close-up here at this article. And as always, that number 33 appears. From dreams to death in 33 seconds. Air India flight that never made it home. The article reads, AI-171 crashed into the hostel building of BJ Medical College. And this BJ Medical College is a government building. That's another aspect I should mention as well with the dual 33s in plain sight with this one article. And another aspect to talk about dreams. And the plane itself is called a Dreamliner, this Boeing 787. And let's take a look here again. As the plane comes down for the crash landing, and that huge fireball and smoke. Now, let's get to this aspect here, where supposedly Ramesh comes out of the plane. He survives, a lone survivor. And there he is walking around and going towards the ambulance through this crowd of people. And I'm surprised nobody's assisting him. No one's holding him up. He's just walking on his own. This guy comes up here a little bit, but doesn't do much of anything. And that gets to this interview. And a lot of aspects here to cover. And of course, this guy, if you haven't seen this footage, he doesn't speak the best English. I'm going to break down what he says here, and let's get right to it.
How did you manage to escape? Did you pull the emergency doors?
No. Emergency door is broken.
Yeah.
My seat is broken. When I see the pace a little bit, then I will try to come out.
So if you can't hear that, clearly what he's saying, due to his accent, he said the way he made his way out, the emergency door was broken. His seat was broken, but there was a place where he can get through. I guess he's talking about a crack, the broken fuselage that he made his way through. And again, to really emphasize all the flames, all the smoke, obviously the fire, and he made his way through. And obviously, as we just seen, able to walk. Unbelievable. Let's continue on here.
Yeah, that's all.
Did the aircraft catch fire before you?
Yes. A little bit fire. After me, I'm out, then blast.
So he just said there that obviously, as we've seen from the video footage, the implosion, the flames, the smoke, and I find it very interesting. He doesn't see much burns on him. His hair doesn't look singed at all. His beard, his top of his head. I mean, obviously with all that heat, this guy should have been vaporized, and obviously he looks in relatively good condition. Definitely a miracle that took place here. Let's continue.
So, did anybody help you, or you after that you came out on your own? How did you jump from the aircraft?
I'm not jumping.
Okay.
I just walk out in it.
Okay.
Then ambulance coming in.
You did walk out on the building or
No, in floor.
on floor?
Yes.
Like you just heard there, he just walked out of the plane, and besides a little bit of bruising on his face, again, no burns, no visible burns. He seems perfectly fine. Looks like he just finished maybe a boxing match for the most part, and that's it. Let's continue on here.
Inside the airplane. Yeah.
And you managed to get into the ambulance there? What did Prime Minister tell you? What was the conversation?
He's just asking me everything is okay. That's it.
You're feeling better now?
Yes.
Where you
One thing I should mention too, it's almost like that one eye symbolism. This eye, bit closed. This one's wide open.
your family? Where's your family? Are you?
In London. Yes. Me and my brother staying in India last 8-9 months. And yesterday I was going to back to London.
And that pretty much concludes the interview. And I should mention the DD India. Of course, DD, it's like 44. ABCD, it's number 4. So you have your 44 in plain sight. Let's take a look here at the ticket. It's going to remind you of something. How this ticket amazingly survived unburned. Not even a scorch, nothing. And of course, reminiscent of 9/11. Same exact situation. And take a closer look at this individual. One of the so-called hijackers. And his name might be a little bit hard to see. Is Satam. Almost like Satan. Give me a break. And more of this ticket from Ramesh. And you'll see more details, of course. The seat number 11A. And again, no scorch. Perfect condition. Unbelievable. What a miracle. And of course, the number, the magic number 33 appears once again on this ticket. But I want to get to the aspect of the individual. Again, his name, his first name, Ramesh. And of course, you have the Ram in the name. And his surname ends with Mar. And obviously, the opposite of Mar is Ram. And as I mentioned earlier, Ram and Mar. So you have this duality aspect going on with his first name and last name, the Ram and Mar. And let's take a look here, as I've shown in previous videos, with the occult of the Ram. As you see with the zodiac sign with Aries. Now obviously, the reverse of Ram is Mar, or Mars in this case, with the so-called ruling planet. And let's continue on here with the actual plane. This diagram of the plane, and let's take a closer look here. Get even a closer look, and you'll see this is the position 11A. And here is the emergency exits right here. And like Ramesh said, he couldn't get out. The doors were damaged. The seat was broken. And he went through basically a crack in the fuselage to make his supposed escape. Now, interesting fact here, according to the story, this is row 11. His hospital bed, his room, is 11 as well. What are the chances of that? That's really unbelievable. Now, let's take another vantage point. This is CCTV, of course. 33 TV from the airport in India. Here you see the plane make its ascent. And shortly, you're going to see here, the plane makes its way down. And again, it was 33 seconds, according to Hindustan Times. Again, take a look at that fireball right after that crash landing. And there you see it behind the tree, and that massive amount of flames and fire, smoke. And the interesting aspect here is you see none of that on the building itself, which is very bizarre. I mean, the plane itself, the tail end of the plane, it's white, the building's white, and a little bit more of the close-up of the same photo. And again, besides the damage, everything looks pretty clean as far as any kind of soot, smoke damage, flames. It just looks like a plane crash, but you don't see any type of resemblance of a fire taking place here with that massive amount of flames we've seen. This is really unbelievable. Of course, you see this individual kind of hanging over the side a little bit. Really strange, very bizarre. We'll show some more angles here of the same. I mean, there's some dirt. You see some discoloration here. But again, it doesn't add up with the massive amount of fire and flames. And just more of the same here. And here is the opposite angle right here. I mean, really strange what we're looking at here. Let's get, again, another little bit of a close-up from this angle. And then, again, you see nothing that resembles the massive amount of flames, the smoke, the soot, anything. Some might say, oh, it just went up and didn't go around on the side of the building. We'll take a look here. Let's go back here and just take a look at the very top of the building. So we saw the aspect from below, left, right positions from underneath. This is the very top of the building. And again, with all those flames, all the smoke, all the soot, this plane is very, very clean. Besides, you see some, looks like some dirt or whatnot on this one part of this tail section here. But relatively, you would think this would be all scorched, burned, and nothing of the sort. Very, very strange indeed. And just more of the same, continue on looking at all the footage, all the different angles and close-ups right here as well. It looks like the plane just fell straight down. Again, these different angles with the same results. And here's actually the stabilizer on the ground. And this is quite a distance from the building itself. How it just flew off. And let's get a little bit of a close-up of these individuals here. And look at all the rescue workers wearing orange. 1, 2, 3, and a couple in the back. They're all looking towards the camera. They know there's a camera pointed at them. But all these other individuals, they're not looking in that direction. They're very aware, of course, of this camera looking at them. It's very, very interesting. And again, getting back to the aspect of the number 33, as I shown earlier. Again, this was a government college, the BJ Medical College, with the dual 33s present. Now let's take a look at this update right here. They say DNA tests identify 80 Air India plane crash victims, 33 bodies handed to, it's kind of hard to see here, to next of kin. So you got 33, and you got your dual 33s, you got your 666 when you add all up. And take a look here, getting back to this Hindustan Times article. It's kind of hard to see. Let's get a little bit of a close-up. And just take a look here in the individual in the one-eye symbolism. Now, going back in time, something I covered well over a decade ago, maybe 12, 13 years ago. This one news story going back to 1972 with Vesna Volvovic. And you see how she's supposedly a stewardess flight attendant on a plane that blew up 33,000 feet up. That magic number, once again, 33. And she supposedly survived. No parachute, no nothing. Again, a plane that exploded, and she survived. They code these stories with that number 33. And I find it very interesting here how this is supposedly a Guinness Book World Records with the highest free fall without a parachute. One thing I want to really emphasize is even skydivers, they jump out on average of 10,000 feet out of a plane. And supposedly some have survived, they say, when a parachute malfunctions. They're in very bad shape. But this is 3 times the height, 33,000 feet. And take a look here. Again, the Guinness Book World Record. You have Vesna and you have Paul McCartney. Not Paul, Paul McCartney in the award she's presented. Now let's take a look here in the hospital with Vesna supposedly recovering. And you see the cast, but her face, I mean, nothing wrong with her. Nothing happened to her. Her face is perfectly fine. But notice how her right arm, specifically her hand, is propped around this toy soldier, whatever it is. You see she actually has a cigarette in her hand as well. But the way she has her hand positioned is to push the right hand of the toy soldier over the right eye. And you have that one eye symbolism, just like I showed here, of the covering of the one eye. This is a different, obviously, position covering the left, the right exposed, but nonetheless, it's the one eye symbolism in plain sight being shown with this duping delight smile. And of course, with the one eye symbolism, as I pointed out so many times in past videos, there's like all these puppets covering their right eye. As many know, of course, the one eye Lucifer from the Masonic temples, the Masonic lodges being displayed in their literature, and of course the reference to the one-eyed Antichrist from Zechariah 11:17, where it states here how his arm shall be clean and dried up, and his right eye shall be utterly darkened. And that's exactly what you have here. And that gets back to this quote I've shown in so many video presentations throughout the years. When the human race learns to read the language of symbolism, a great veil will fall from the eyes of men. And this is from very famous Freemason, Manly P. Hall. So in closing, it definitely demonstrates with the number 33, going back again to 1972, there's nothing new under the sun.
John chapter 9, verse 25. Whereas once I was blind, now I can see. Now I can see.